Well, welcome, Davina Stampfel. I knew I was going to get it wrong. I'm so sorry. To the McKinney Podcast. And folks out there in listener and watcher land, welcome as well. The McKinney Podcast celebrates what makes us unique by nature. And I love episodes like this because I very intentionally did not do any research at all. My secret sauce in this show is curiosity. Fred is the research guy. Fred will do a deep dive on just about everybody to get in there and learn. And Fred and I take completely different approaches to these episodes.
Right. But for this one, actually, I didn't have to do much research because I met Davina through Leadership McKinney, which I am now
a graduate.
Yay, congratulations.
Yeah, she's a graduate. I'm now in. So my season's just starting, and you were part of what class ever?
Greatest class ever, class of 2025.
Yeah.
You know what though? And David Garcia, whom you also know, we just finished up our recording with him. He was part of Leadership McKinney class.
Greatest class ever, 2025.
Yeah.
Most people are saying best class ever, but no, we had to create our own. We're greatest class ever.
Yeah, I feel you there because 2020, we were clearly the best class ever.
Well, you had unique challenges in 2020.
Yeah, we did.
You could be the most unique class ever.
Well, because we were playing off the 2020 thing for like eyesight, clear vision is 2020. We thought we were clever, and then COVID happened and wonk wonk. Yeah. So now everybody from the rest of time was like class of 2020. They go, oh. It was like, oh yeah, we had no idea what was about to happen. So Davina, you are here representing your company, McKinney Repertory Theater, or the rebrand MRT, as I noticed that everyone started calling it MRT because McKinney Repertory Theater is a bit of a mouthful.
It sure is. MRT is a lot easier to say. But it also rolls off the tongue a lot easier. It doesn't fill up all of your social media with just the title. So MRT works so much nicer.
And your primary stage, maybe your only stage, I don't know, is in the Impact Theater, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So we do all of our main stage productions at the Courtroom Theater in the McKinney Performing Arts Center. We also do collaborations across different organizations. One of our big ones every year is Chestnut Square Heritage Village, where we do a Halloween-themed either murder mystery, although this year we are doing something different. We're doing a radio show that'll be really unique, and we do that in the chapel at Chestnut Square. And we've done other things with other organizations as well.
Very cool.
How about that? Okay, so I just, full transparency. Now that you've gone to the MRT, is it Barefoot in the Park?
That was the one we just closed.
Yes. When I saw the posters, all I can see, because in the lower corner is Mr. T, child of the 80s. And so I see Mr. T, and I'm like, oh, I pity the fool. Don't go see this production.
MRT.
Yeah, no, you're not Mr. T.
Not Mr. T.
Mr. T. I hadn't thought of that. You should be on our marketing committee.
You don't know what's going around inside this noggin. And that's before coffee. So
we need a very large gold chain with an MRT medallion.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's going to be on my if we ever launch a merchandise store, that'll be the first thing that I add to the merch store is a big MRT medallion.
There
just
you go.
For that.
That's right. Not trying to influence upcoming productions, but has anyone ever done a production of the A-Team?
I don't think so. I'll have to see if there's even
A-Team,
a script.
the musical.
Yes.
I don't know how that would go.
I don't know, but. Pity the fool.
You got to remember, Fred, you're a child of the 70s. Not a lot of people still remember the A-Team.
Yeah, I know. It's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad,
Well, it hasn't been on TV in 35 years.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure like TNT or USA around 3 a.m, probably trying to fill that block where no one's watching.
Yeah.
Probably.
If I can watch Golden Girls every night, I'm pretty sure there's a place you can watch A-Team every night.
That is a valid statement, yeah, for sure. Okay, so Davina, catch us up. How did you get to this current chapter in your life? Give us whatever background you want, family, growing up, literally whatever you want to give context before we get to current chapter of things.
All right.
Leading off with when your feet
there
first
there you go.
touch the earth.
So
what was the soil and why was it not Texas?
So feet first hit the earth was Somerville, New Jersey. And like many good folks here in McKinney, I got here as quick as I could. I actually grew up partway through my childhood was in New Jersey, and then we moved to North Carolina. And I was that girl who was always into horses. I had a horse. I was going after school and taking horseback riding lessons. And On the other hand, I also enjoyed like puppet shows, things like that as a kid. I was making tickets and having my parents come and see the show. And so when I was probably in 8th grade, my mom was like, you should audition for this community theater show. It's Alice in Wonderland. And I was like, no, that's like, I didn't really have much of an interest. I was into horses. That was like what my trajectory was going to be. I was never good enough, but like that never seemed to matter in dreams where, I'm going to ride for the U.S. Olympic team. And you're like, yeah, realistically, that was never going to happen. But, you dream big anyway.
Yeah.
And my mother was like, no, I think you would be good at this. Just give it a try and audition. I ended up being Alice in Alice in Wonderland.
How about
and
that?
I loved it. I was addicted from there on out. Sold the horses, bought a car. A couple of years later, I was going to surrounding communities doing whatever theater had parts for someone my age. Eventually, I ended up going to school and majored in theater, and then also did business of film because I also was interested in film at the time as well. And then from there, went to basically I packed everything in my car after college and went up to New York and started acting and realized I hated professionally acting. Because when you walk into an audition at a community theater, everyone is there that's supportive. They want you to do well. They want you to get the part. They want you to be part of our big show family. And every different production is like being in part of a family. The good and sometimes the bad, depending on the show. And I was missing that. So I ended up stopping acting. I ended up going behind the scenes and getting on the other side of the camera. And that's where my career led me for many, many years until I came to Texas. So my husband had an opportunity to move out of New York City and start a new division with his employer here in Dallas. And we were looking around and we decided that we loved McKinney. It had a beautiful historic district. It was exactly what we imagined if we had ever left the city. And he knew people because he had gone to SMU, grew up in Houston. He knew a lot of folks in the area. And I didn't know anyone. I was moving here cold. And I remembered growing up and feeling like community theater was a family. So I auditioned for a show. The show that I auditioned for was Christmas Carol, which is our annual production that we do every year. And I immediately felt at home. When I auditioned, I wasn't pregnant at the time, and then found out I was pregnant in the middle of the show, and everyone was so supportive and so amazing, and it was just wonderful to have those friendships only a few months after moving here. I loved it. So I noticed no one was doing any social media, so I started volunteering to do social media. Started to get more audience, started to grow a following. They invited me to be part of the board of directors, so I was on the board of directors for about a year and a half. COVID hit. We had to shut down our shows. And then coming out of COVID, the theater wasn't doing very well. A lot of people who were core volunteers had either found other things to volunteer for during COVID, or some had moved away. People had forgotten that we had a community theater. And we had been averaging around 150 people per show in the audience. Suddenly, we were down to 30, 35.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It was
That's when a community theater dies if you're not careful.
Yes, and we were very scared the community theater was going to die. At the same time, I had just left my position because I had had my son and had been at home with him for now about a year and a half. And I was not ready to go back to the office after being at home with him for a year and a half. So I'd quit my job. And the board of directors was like, hey, would you be interested in possibly working for us part-time in an executive director role? And it was the exact thing that I needed at the time. And since that time, we've now got an average of 160 to 170 people in audience. So
Nice.
yeah.
Love it.
At Christmas Carol, we have this year we had a little over 2,000 people come and see Christmas Carol.
That's amazing.
Which is amazing, yeah. It was, I think, so far the highlight of my career as executive director with MRT is having the proclamation for A Christmas Carol this year. And it was pretty amazing to see that.
This is something that I don't think I've shared at all in the podcast. I was a theater.
Do we need theme music?
Hold on a second.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, I think there needs to be theme music.
Storytime music.
That's right.
So back when I was a homeschooled kid, nerdy and weird and outcast, because back then homeschooling wasn't cool. Nobody did it back then. I realized that I was a bit of an acting out kid, and instead of getting in trouble, my mom put me in community theater. And I got involved with Angelina College. We had a wonderful theater department. And my first semester in college, I was a theater major. And I had the opportunity to play 3 different parts, the most interesting of which I somehow got the lead in Shakespeare's Macbeth. And I played Macbeth on stage at Angelina College. And I still remember probably half of my lines. I can give you a soliloquy that will make you go, huh? I never would have thought that James would be a theater kid. But yeah, theater is near and dear to my heart, and I've been told I'm a decent singer. So at some point, I will be auditioning for something. I don't have any idea what or when. I have young kids, and obviously the theater schedule is not really conducive when you're a dad of young kids and the leader of a company. But yeah, at some point, I'm going to show up at an audition, and we'll have a good laugh.
So I'm hearing you're auditioning for Christmas Carol because your kids can be in it with you.
How quickly
no.
she turned that.
Yeah.
Oh, she reeled me in, didn't she?
So
Yeah, but his children are shy.
Oh, no.
that's because they haven't been introduced to theater yet.
Oh, they're definitely not shy. Fred is being sarcastic.
Listen, I love going to James's house because it is better. It is the best entertainment, and at a moment's notice, you don't know what the show is going to be.
Emmy
so
would
good.
feel right on stage doing anything with MRT because she's on stage every minute of her life.
Yes.
Amazing.
She is always presenting something.
Yes.
So I had no idea. That makes sense. Yeah, we'll look at that because that would be just a great bit of fun.
So we have several families who year after year, they come back and do it together as a family. Their kids are on stage. They end up getting small parts, or they decide they want to do background, or sometimes even like the parents are the ones driving it and they're doing some of the bigger parts, and then their kids come along as well and enjoy it. But my favorite story about, because there's people who do it year after year, there's a couple who they started out as some of the children, and some of the children characters, they were the Cratchit family kids. And they grew up, started to do different roles, and eventually they were young Scrooge and young Belle.
Yeah.
And did that for a couple of years. And behind the scenes, they were a real life couple, and that's how they met, was through Christmas Carol. So a couple of years ago, they were doing young Belle and young Scrooge on stage, and he proposed to her on stage.
Oh, how about that?
Oh, wow.
It was amazing.
Love it. So which one, I forget which one of the ghost characters is like the tall, lurchy kind of,
Ghost of Christmas Future.
Okay.
Yes.
I feel like Ghost of Christmas
Grim Reaper.
Future.
The Grim Reaper.
That may be my audition part then, if I had to guess, because that, like, I have the build for it and the deep, foreboding voice.
Well, there's no lines on that one, so it's pretty easy.
Yeah, you just do this,
You point,
and then you
yeah.
point.
Oh, that's
You point here,
right.
and you point to the grave.
The thing is for that audition, you don't have to do much. They actually just measure you, because Teresa Miller, who does all of our costumes, and she works year round on like updating those costumes every year.
Okay.
She'll do different things every year. And for that costume, she actually has it built out, and it has to fit somebody who's at least 6 feet tall. And then it's heavy because it has like a whole structure built around it. And then the hood goes up and above the head.
So
So
you're
it's
even
actually
taller.
it ends up being like around 8 feet tall when
nice.
you walk out. So that way you were really towering over Scrooge.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane.
And I'm
it's
6'6".
heavy too. So
So
you would be perfect for that.
Can you make it a singing role?
Oh, you never know.
no,
Depends on
that
the
is definitely
director.
not a singing role.
To the grave.
No, that would be fun. I don't know.
Have you ever seen the Virgin's? Was it Scrooge? Or Scrooged with
Scrooged
Bill
with
Murray,
Bill Murray,
and
yeah,
he
the
tries to
movie.
make it a musical.
I have not.
Yes.
But if Bill Murray, oh my gosh, Bill Murray's insane.
Yes.
No, can I tell a quick Bill Murray story?
Go for it.
This was, what city were we in? I did a lot of, I forget what city we were in. We were in an urban city. I forget what city it was. This was probably 15 years ago. And we were eating at just a regular burger restaurant. It was a local restaurant there. We're at a table just having a meal. And suddenly I see Bill Murray walk in by himself, no entourage, no bodyguard, no, just Bill Murray. I was like, pretty sure that's Bill Murray. And he orders his food. And he walks past, and then while we were there, like, he walks by the table and he saw me make eye contact, so I think he just picked me out as his target. He walks over, takes a French fry out of my tray, dips it in the ketchup, eats it, looks at me, leans down and says, "No one will ever believe you when you tell this story," and walks off. That was it. That was the entire interaction. It was like, what on earth just happened?
But
Like, he didn't say a word and he just leaned in and borderline whispered it in my ear. "No one will believe you when you tell this story," and just walked off.
That does give you an amazing story.
I was like, is that not the most Bill Murray thing ever?
And of course you said that. Now I've played him in, how would he have said that? Like from something from Saturday Night Live, from Caddyshack, from Scrooged, from Groundhog Day. Because it's all Bill Murray, but he has a little bit of persona.
Groundhog Day like tone and pacing, and just said it so low keyed and deadpanned. "No one will believe you when you tell this story," and just walks off. It was like, come on. And the funny thing is, like, I've seen articles of other people that shared similar stories, and I'm like, that must be his kitsch. Like, that's just his thing that he does to mess with random strangers. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, I guess I'm on the long list of people he's done that to, apparently.
But what a great kitsch thing to do.
It's such a Bill Murray thing. Yeah, you want to talk about a theater guy. Golly, Bill Murray is, on the big screen, down the stage. I mean, yeah, what a dude.
He's done everything.
One of my very favorite actors.
Okay, so speaking of everything, so you have a deep, deep history of production. What was your favorite production that you were ever in? Aside from your starring lead role the very first time your mom said, "Get in there." Alice.
That's
right. Alice was fantastic. However, I don't think I learned the most from that. My favorite production, and it's really nice to be able to say that I got to see it done a couple of times afterwards, is I got to be in Diary of Anne Frank twice, play 2 different roles. And then my favorite experience, though, was getting to see it here on our stage. Not having done it for many, many years. My first time I was Margot, the sister, and then the second time I was older and I got to play Meep, who was an amazing woman, and it was just such an honor to be able to portray her. And then we did it, was it 2 years ago now? We did Diary of Anne Frank, and that production was just such a beautiful production. I think still to this day, that is my favorite production we've ever done at MRT. Mm-hmm. I love Christmas Carol. That's our holiday favorite. That will always have a special place in my heart. But our production of Diary of Anne Frank was incredibly moving and beautiful. And the director, Nathan Autry, and the whole cast and crew on that one was just so incredible. And it was really nice to be able to see it. I had seen it when I was younger, and of course I had seen it sort of from being in it, but then taking a break from it and coming back and revisiting it was just such a beautiful production, and it kind of brought some of the things full circle for me in my career, and being able to be in something, but then being behind the scenes and really pushing for that show to get done. Mm-hmm. We had the free student ticket program for that. We had several educational opportunities that we produced around that as well. One of my favorites was hosting Vince Pancoke, who had just had a book about trying to research the cold case of who had actually betrayed the Franks. Mm-hmm. And he was an FBI agent who went in and looked at it. And his book is really interesting. Of course, no one will ever prove what happened, but it's one of the many theories. So we were able to host him. And then we had Rabbi Cushman from the synagogue in Plano that came and spoke and did a post-show talk back with our director about the show, what happened to the Franks after. And it was just a wonderful experience to be part of this community who was so open and loving and giving and really supportive, because we were a little nervous. Facebook will give you everyone in the world, and you don't realize what somebody goes through until you start getting random Facebook threat messages. And the thing that Facebook does that I think they find helpful is that they'll tell you what was said, but they don't tell you. They take away like who did it, where it's from, and like So you just know you're getting threats, but you don't know if it's local. You don't know if it's some bot from somewhere or if it's somebody who just harasses people as a side hustle and they harass everyone who happens to use a hashtag. So we were a little nervous throughout that whole production, but the community was amazing. And we never had an incident. So I think it was just people who are just looking to harass folks who are doing the show. But you don't know that because they strip all of the other information aside from like, hey, you're getting a threat. It's like, all right, it'd be nice to know. Is that somebody down the block? Is that somebody 1,000 miles away? So we didn't know, but we had a wonderful experience. And the coolest thing, and it's such a small thing, but it really made the show, is our director wanted a wooden menorah so that way Mr. Von Don could be whittling it throughout the show, and then Hanukkah comes and that's the menorah they use. Well, we didn't think that finding a wooden menorah would be really difficult. Turns out it was. We have a very limited budget when it comes to props because we are a community theater, and we were looking for them everywhere. Couldn't find one. We look online, and these things are like $300 to $500 to have a wooden menorah. And I was like, well, we can't afford that. That's our entire props budget for this show. So I went to the community and started asking around. I had people reach out to me with menorahs that I have no idea how they got my info. But as soon as I put out a call to a few people, word spread that we were looking for this. And we had several people who offered their personal menorahs for us to use in the show. And it was amazing. Like just seeing how that spread and how people wanted to help to make sure this show was a success here was just a beautiful thing.
So that's a really big community, all-inclusive community. Okay, so I have this personal observation and belief. What is your take on theater as therapy?
Oh, theater is one of the best therapies. We have people come from all walks of life who want to express themselves creatively. And theater is a wonderful way to do that. You get to de-stress. For a little while, you get to play. If you're on stage, you get to pretend to be somebody else and step in somebody's shoes for a little bit. It also builds empathy for people. It's easy to judge someone when you've never walked in their shoes, but theater gives you the ability to actually walk in those shoes and be like, oh, wow, like, would I make these choices if I was this character, and learning about some of their backstory, or would I choose to do something else? And suddenly you're struck by like, well, maybe I would make these choices because you don't understand what they are going through. It's another wonderful thing about theater is it's easier to empathize when you're in an audience with somebody who's real and in front of you than it is with a screen. It's easy to judge people on screen and those characters and not learn because it's passive. Whereas when you're in a theater and you're part of the audience, you're actually part of that performance. Whether you realize it or not, it's a living, breathing thing. And you're never going to be part of that same piece of art like you were before. So like I've seen many of our productions many times, and I'll be the first to tell you, every show is different. Every one of them. Even on Broadway. I used to work right around Times Square, and there was a show that I was obsessed with. And if I worked late, I'd always stop by the theater box office to see if they had any leftover tickets they were willing to sell to me cheap. The first time I saw it, I went all out. After that, I was like, oh, let's just go see if they have some extra tickets that I could get at rush ticket prices. And if the show is started, like nobody's buying them, so they would sell them to me pretty cheaply. Of course, this is back in a long, long time ago. So I doubt they do that now, but even Broadway, every time I saw that show, it was different depending on how the audience laughed, how, like, if they were silent, some of the people get into it differently. Sometimes you just have a different energy that night. Yeah. Sometimes the actor trips up on a line and somebody saves them and adds in a little of something. And the energy is different every night, and you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. Like last year, we had one of the behind stage crew forgot to lock one of the wheels on Cratchit's desk, and it rolled. Our stage has a little bit of a curve to it. It's an old building. It's definitely not level at all. And all of a sudden, in the middle of a very beautiful scene with one of the ghosts, you see Cratchit's desk roll off the stage and hit the floor. And it's a big bang because that's a 3-foot tall stage. It's pretty tall. But
it rolled off the front of the stage and hit the ground?
The front of the stage and hit the ground.
Oh, my.
Yep.
Wow.
Did the ghost get an ad-lib speaking line?
They handled it all beautifully. I was sitting there just going, oh my God, I don't know if I would have been able to handle that as like charmingly and
Nobody
kept the
broke.
show going. Like nobody broke. They paused for it, let everybody kind of have their ooze, and then they continued on with the show. And then
Wait for it to go dark, and then the stagehands put it back where it goes.
exactly.
Man.
They rushed out, grabbed it, and then luckily we didn't need that piece until the very end of the show. So then they're all looking for screwdrivers trying to fix it because it didn't break.
Wow. When did you leave New York?
So we left New York. So it's a very funny story. We were supposed to move to McKinney a year later than we actually did. So we came in May of 2019, and we were supposed to just look at neighborhoods. My husband had a big off-site with his new team here in Dallas, and I got to my first introduction to this area was staying at the Star and being able to like see all that area. And after he was done, we were meeting with different real estate agents to just check out neighborhoods, get an idea of what we could afford, what neighborhood we may want to start looking in for a year from then.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't fall in love with any of the neighborhoods. It was a very different way of life from what I'd been used to in New York City. And I actually happened to reach out to a friend of ours who I had done a documentary on in one of my previous careers. And we got dinner here in McKinney. And I had come to McKinney back in 2015 and done a documentary on her and kept in touch, and we had dinner. And she's like, oh, let's go to Harvest. We go to Harvest. And I was like, this area is beautiful. Like, it's amazing. Turns out her mother was a real estate agent here in McKinney. And I was like, you know what? Let's see what houses are like here. And the day before we flew out, we were looking at houses. And then the morning that we flew out, we looked at my house. And we just fell in love with it. And I was like, you know, we'd put in some offers on real estate in the New York City area, and no one ever like gave our offers a second thought. So I was like, oh, real estate's probably the same way here. So we put in an offer below asking price on our house, and so we won't regret it. They'll say no, thank you very much, and you know, it just wasn't meant to be. 2 days later, we find out, congratulations, you got the house, and we're like, what? We're not supposed to move for another year.
Wow.
So we ended up moving in June of 2019. Actually, July 4th weekend, we drove from New York City here and started our life here about a year earlier. And thank goodness we did, because that meant that we didn't have to spend COVID in a fifth floor, very tiny walk-up Chinatown apartment.
Okay.
How about that?
So I have to ask this because you were in New York during this period of time. And if I'm reading the room correctly, I bet you've seen the show probably several times. Is the number of times you've seen Hamilton greater than 0?
I actually have never seen Hamilton on stage.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it opened in 2016. And I've never seen it on stage, but I've watched the production on Disney Plus probably 8 or 9 times. And it's like, oh man, if I'd lived in New York City during that time, I'd have found a way to be there.
It was hard to get tickets.
Oh, it was incredibly hard.
It was so hard to get tickets.
Yeah.
Like, it was lottery. And I was like, before we left, I was hitting the lottery every time I had any availability, and never got lucky enough to get tickets. So now, actually,
so was there any secondary market, or was it all just lottery? Like if somebody got at the lottery, that ticket no longer exists because nobody's selling.
Very few people were selling. I'm pretty sure they were probably scalpers, but that
scalping
wasn't
market.
really how I was planning on taking my chances to see the
Sure.
show. 'Cause
Okay.
Yeah, she's getting the rush tickets, not the.
Yeah, or like you just buy them straight out. But with that show, it was such a huge hit that you couldn't.
And there's 8 million people that live in New York City, so good luck.
Yeah, or you're spending $1,000 for a ticket, and I did not have that kind of budget. I was willing to spend some money, but not that kind of money.
Right.
Just the thinking of what it must have been like to score a ticket for the original cast with all of those people. It's like, golly, this is like watching Shakespeare in 1547 in King's Theatre in London. It's like, this is one of those things where you were there in the room where it happened, the room where it happened. Yeah, it was like, whew.
I will not join you because, as my husband will attest to, no one wants to hear me sing.
Man.
I have no sense of tune or rhythm.
Yeah,
You can deliver lines, just not
Yes.
sung.
if I had the chance to play any part, it would be George Washington for sure.
Oh, nice.
Because
Yeah, that's a great one.
I'm not a fit for Hamilton. He was 5'9". So yeah,
Yeah, you could definitely do George Washington.
yeah. George was 6'4".
He was.
So yeah, and that character is just so masterfully played.
He is.
Yeah, because the funny thing, and we're so off topic here. Ron Chernow is a biographer. He wrote the book that the musical is based on. Ron Chernow also has several other biographies, including one of George Washington. And listening to the audiobook and reading the Ron Chernow biography of George Washington, which the audiobook is like 34 hours long.
Wow.
It is exhaustive.
deep.
Like reading that biography and then seeing how Washington is portrayed in the Hamilton musical, it's like this feels pretty spot on the way that they portrayed, and Jefferson saying, it's like, for those that haven't seen Hamilton, like I poo-pooed the whole thing because I'm not a huge musical fan. Like I'm not really into musicals at all. And Allison, my wife, was like, you need to check this out. And I'm like, whatever, fine. I'll sit down and watch a stupid musical with you. And inside 5 minutes, I was just like toe tapping. I was like, oh, this is good. It's like hip hop and musical had a baby, and it's Hamilton. It's like, wow, this is a different kind of theater.
Have you ever heard of, and I believe this was one of the precursors, but there was a show called Bloody Bloody Andrew Jackson, and it was basically a rock opera using Andrew Jackson as the subject matter. And it was a really fun show that was on Broadway for a hot minute. They had done it at the Public, and the poster for it was very similar to Born in the USA, where it just the iconic
Bruce Springsteen. Yeah.
Butt shot with
guitar,
except this one had the American
jeans.
flag in it, and
Nice.
like it was very much a rock meets Broadway show. And then Hamilton came after that, and I was like,
Man.
oh, these are all just such great theatrical productions, with the music just being so amazing and the acting being incredible.
Yeah.
It's funny, living all those years in New York. I never got to see Hamilton, and I never got to see Book of Mormon, and my husband and I are thinking of going back to New York City for our anniversary this year, and we're like, all right, we're going to try to see the shows that we haven't gotten to see. But I'm like, but there's new shows too. I'm like, oh, how do we choose?
Allison and I I've never been to New York. Allison's been, I think, twice. But and I don't know exactly how this is going to work, but our 15th anniversary is in December, and I'm sitting here scheming going, can we have like a 2 or 3 day thing, either, December or whatever. Like at some point, Allison and I are going to go to New York, just the two of us, and be theater rats for, 2 days or whatever. It's like, it's kind of a bucket list type of thing. It's like, I've been all over the country. I've just never been to New York.
You definitely need to make sure it's 2 or 3 days. And when you go, I have a full bucket list of restaurants for you to hit up and things to do. Because December in New York is one of my favorite times of the year.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. It's cold, but
Cold.
Not that cold. Like when you don't want to go to New York is February. February, it's miserable. But December, it's got this, it's
a
cold,
chill,
crisp
but it's
cold.
not like super cold. It's like Christmas cold.
Yes.
And then everything is so dressed up and beautiful with the windows. And maybe I'm biased, but I think New Yorkers are a little friendlier that time of year. It's just a lovely, slightly.
They're still incredibly rude by Southern standards.
Yes, by Southern standards.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, I'm a born and raised Southerner. So
it's hard to be that cranky when you've got all these beautiful windows and lights and glowing everything everywhere. So
just the whole like skate at the rink in front of Rockefeller Plaza and all the just completely stereotype holiday in New York things. And I was like, it's at some point that's going to have to happen. I've been all over. It's for some reason never been to New York. So it's on the list for sure. When we transition to like call to action, how do we engage with the audience? Obviously, there's really 3 buckets for you guys, right? There's the supporter bucket, whether it's small or medium businesses here in town who want to get behind the MRT financially, people that might want to buy a ticket to see a show, take their kids, family, spouse, go by themselves if they're just enjoying theater or whatever, or audition, in the show. Or I guess the 4th bucket is support the show, whether it's audio, video, if it's set, if it's costume, design, usher for a show, like volunteering, whatever. So there's all kinds of different ways for people to get involved with MRT.
Absolutely. And people always tell me like, oh, I don't act, so I can't get involved in MRT. And I'm like, well, what do you enjoy doing? Because a lot of people always think of community theater as just acting. And I'm like, no, we need everything. If you have a talent in marketing and advertising, we need help with that. If you love to write, we have a college student right now who is looking to build her portfolio in writing, and she's been writing some blog articles for us, and she's done a fantastic job. And we've got people who are like, oh, I used to do electrical, and I know some of that. Is that something you could use? Yes, we have lighting needs that we need. There's certain shows that have special effects that we have people who like love to build things and try to figure out how they can get different special effects to work for us. There's a couple of shows that we've always been wanted to do, but some of the special effects are outside some of our core volunteers' area of expertise. So like if people are interested in those sort of things and trying to engineer stuff, we need folks like that behind the scenes to support the shows. Another hardcore need is folks who understand construction. We have a lot of people who understand how to like use some power tools, but they don't do it every day. So set builds could go from several hours to having enough hands who understand what it takes to put together a flat or build the stairs could cut times in half, so that way volunteers don't have to be there as often. Let's see, sound design. We have some wonderful sound designers, but anyone who's interested in sound design, costuming, we even have folks who just volunteer here and there to like, oh, like if you need help to repair costumes in the week in between shows, like they help sew on buttons, things like that. So there's a myriad of ways to get involved. And if my favorite way to get started with MRT, and I tell everyone, is if you've never seen a show, you'd like to kind of see what we do, what we're like, is to usher. If you usher for a show, all you have to do is give out programs or take tickets at the bottom of the stairs, and then you direct people to their chairs, answer questions like where's the bathroom, where's concessions, and then you get to see the show for free. It's a fantastic way to just check out our theater, see if it's something you'd want to get further involved with, and go from there. Like we have actually two of our board members, they started out as ushers. They were looking for a way to get involved, and he had actually done some theater when he was in high school, and he had enjoyed it. And now that he was in close to retirement age, he was looking to get back involved in the community. And he's like, well, let's just start ushering. Well, then they started ushering, and then they got into concessions. Then they started doing other things. Now they're producing shows, and it's a husband and wife couple, and now they're on our board of directors. So you never know like where some of that small step will take you. And they've just really enjoyed it, and they love being involved, and they love seeing how some of these things go from start to finish, and then get to see this beautiful product on stage. Mm-hmm. And there's something wonderful about being able to say that you support local talent, because this area of Texas has so much amazing talent. And people always, when I say that I'm executive director of a community theater, they immediately say, oh, it must be so much fun to work with kids. And I'm like, well, no, I actually work with all ages, because we are an all ages theater, and people are very quick to support children's theater. But then when they're like, oh, adults, it's like, oh, well, why don't adults get the same support that some of the kids programs do? And like, it's just as educational, it's just as therapeutic, especially since we have so many seniors involved. It brings so many benefits that a lot of seniors are lacking these days, like a sense of community. Memorizing lines and learning new things are great for keeping their brains active. There's so many studies that have been done that theater is a wonderful thing to be involved in, whether you're just an audience member versus being on stage or even part of the crew, and it's great for all ages. So community theaters are important because they do support all ages and not just children or not just one age. And we do shows that we always make sure we have Christmas carols so we can have kids. And then we have other shows as well, so that way we can support the amazing talent that's here. And it's also really cool to be able to like, hey, that's my neighbor. My neighbor's up on stage. Like, that's pretty amazing.
Well, and studies have shown that 100% of adults used to be kids. So the whole notion,
some of us have grown up and they're still childish.
But it's like what's good
our toys just get bigger.
What's good for kids is good for grown-ups. What's good for grown-ups is good for seniors. And it's like I've never really understood that. It's like just because you've taken more trips around the sun than someone else, does that mean you're any less deserving of support, emotional, social support or whatever? It's like, oh, hey, that's so cool that you're in that production. Who cares if you're 5 or 45 or 65 or 75? Who cares? Like, it's people are stepping out outside their comfort zones, growing,
Yes.
Doing things that scare them or make them anxious. Like Fred said, theater is therapy.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite stories is there's a gentleman that I met him downtown, and I was like, you just have that personality. You would be great on stage. And he was like, Davina, that was like a young man's dream. And I was like, no, I think this is like something you should do. And I kept after him, and he's like, no, like, I'm in my 70s. I don't think I could do this anymore. Well, we had an actor that dropped out of one of our collaborations at Chestnut Square, and I immediately was like, hey, this is coming in a week or two. Would you be interested? And he's like, yeah, I think I could do it. Just to help you guys out. Well, from there, then he decided to audition for a small part in another show. He's like, this is amazing. He's like, I had no idea. Like, it's like, I feel alive in a way that I haven't felt in years. His very next show, he auditioned and he got a lead. And he has been part of our community theater ever since. And he's now on our board of directors as well. But it was one of those things that he would never have gone and auditioned if I hadn't given him the encouragement. And then when he did, he realized this is a whole new thing that is giving me so much more that makes me feel alive in a way I haven't. And, he started this in his 70s and has been in several of our shows, and it contributes in a way that he never expected 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah, I look at theater like I look at recess. I don't know if school includes recess anymore, but when I was in school, you didn't have to convince someone to go to recess. It was like, man, I can't wait to get out there. And during recess, it was everything, whether it was we were just quietly sitting, reading a book. Typically, we were like messing around, running around, doing things, all the adventure that had built up during math or spelling or whatever, it's like the mind was like ready to go. It's like just recess, it was just 30, 45 minutes of just straight expression from the heart, all sorts of things. And, with community theater, it is those things. It is not someplace where, you're earning a paycheck, where you're trying to get the corner office or the preferred parking. This is something you want to do. This is something you want to get out there and just to be you, and have that fun with other people. Because I think the key there is community, right?
And fun. You said it. Like, all of our things are fun, and I'm constantly reminding some of our volunteers who get very stressed out and serious about it, and they're like, I want the set to look perfect. I want this. I was like, at the end of the day, I know we all want it to be beautiful, and we hold ourselves to a professional standard. However, it has to be fun. Like, it's got to be fun for our actors.
Yeah. If it's not fun, you're doing it wrong.
That's right.
Exactly. We're
and
doing
the audience,
this wrong.
The audience
if
is having
it's not fun. Like, people are coming from work, directly from work. They're stopping, grabbing some food, coming to rehearsals. They're taking time outside of their families and other commitments. And it's all to have fun. Yes, they want it to be a good show. Yes, they want it to be impactful for their audience. They want people to laugh if it's a comedy, cry if it's a drama, leave wanting to sing if it's a musical. But at the same time, it all has to be fun for them. And that's what we do, is we provide joy and we build community through live theater, whether it's folks helping us behind the stage, or if it's sponsors who are supporting us, or audience members, because how we're able to do what we do is we are mostly funded through ticket sales. So most of our revenue comes through all of our ticket sales. And as I'm sure you have heard, the Performing Arts Center will be going through renovations starting in January of 2026. And then if they stick to timeline, they'll open up at the end of either September or October of 2026. So we are going to be a little bit challenged in the upcoming year because our home will be being renovated. So we're going to be doing some smaller collaborations. So we're going to be going through a bit of a rough time. We're still going to do, we've got a new playwright festival, the New Works Festival coming up that we're going to be doing in February and March. We're doing a collaboration, hopefully, with the Heard Craig Center for the Arts in spring. And then, of course, we'll do a Chestnut Square collaboration in the fall. And we're hoping to do an exciting other collaboration with another community organization that I'm still waiting to hear back on. So more news to come on that.
Nice.
Teaser.
But it'll be a difficult year because smaller collaborations mean 100 tickets.
Right.
Whereas right now we have 1,000 tickets that we're selling. So next year is going to be very difficult for the community theater, but we're still going to be serving our mission, doing smaller engagements. And I really hope the community will come and support us for those.
But the good news is when they're done with the renovation, that desk won't roll off the front quite the same way.
It will not. Actually, I'm so excited for the renovations. The bathrooms are going to be renovated, which the theater is beautiful, but those bathrooms really do need an uplift. The stage right now is pieces because when they renovated the theater to become a theater, it had to be able so that way if they ever wanted to use it as a courthouse again, it could be transformed back into the courthouse.
They still have the bench and everything.
They do. The benches in the back, which means I have very limited backstage space. The stage is sections, so you can't do big dance musicals because when the building shifts, those sections lift, and it's very easy for a dancer to trip on those. So we can do small dance things, but nothing, like you could never do a very big musical number in there. Well, the stage is very small, but also like in terms of like how that stage moves, you'd never be able to do it because the way the platforms lift, it's just too much of a hazard for your actors and dancers. So they're going to put in a permanent stage. The judges' bench is being planned to be put out in the front, so that'll be the new bar/concession area. And I'm so excited for that because I have so many fun cocktail names. I've just been like pitching them left and right. Like there's so many opportunities for fun drink names with that. Well, I'm like a guilty plea. Like I'll take the guilty plea, please. But opening back up with the new renovations, we are going to have 2 historic shows. So it's super exciting. If we stay to the current timeline and we get back in there in October, we'll be reopening with the grand reopening of the theater with the 20th anniversary of A Christmas Carol. And if you guys don't know, Christmas Carol, this production was actually written by Dr. Andrew Harris, who is a resident of McKinney. And he wrote it specifically for us to be about a 1-hour production. So that way it could fit in between all of the other wonderful holiday activities McKinney has. So we do a 1-hour performance 3 times on Friday and Saturday of the Home for the Holiday festivals, and it fits in between the other entertainment. So on Friday night, if you want to go see the Christmas tree lighting, we have a performance right before then that gets out in time, so that way you can go see the tree lighting. And usually the Performing Arts Center staff have it like somebody down there going, all right, if you're interested in tree lighting, go this way, and you'll go right to the front. If you're not, go that way to exit and avoid tree lighting traffic. And then we also do them during the same weekend as the Rotary's Holiday Lights Parade. So that way people can come in, warm up, go see the show, get in the spirit, and then go back out to their chairs and see the Holiday Lights Parade as well. So, and it's also a wonderful experience for families who might have younger children and want to expose their kids to theater at the holidays, during the holidays, because it's 1 hour. I love the original version of Christmas Carol. However, it is a slog for kids to sit through. And our 1 hour version has everything that you actually remember from the story without all of the extra things. So it's great for smaller children. Although I do remind people there are ghosts. So some, depending on your child's personality, it could be a little scary. Although some kids, like one of my best friends, her son was like, yes, ghosts. And he's 5. So he's like, sign me up. So you never know. But it's a great thing for families to do in the holidays. It's only an hour. And then following that will be our March production of To Kill a Mockingbird. And that is the first show that was ever done when the theater was renovated back in 2006.
How about that?
Because it's a courtroom drama. It was obviously a great choice to do in the newly renovated courtroom theater. So we'll be bringing that back, and that'll be the second show that we do as part of the grand reopening celebration. So
cool.
It's very exciting to do the 2 historic shows.
That'll be great. That'll be great. Okay.
You ready for the last question?
Yes. Well, actually, no, I have, just some things from what you shared. Okay. So New Jersey girl moved to New York, North Carolina, and then down here to Texas. So in a quick lightning round, best team ever: Eagles, Jets, Panthers, or the Cowboys?
Eagles by far. And I was an Eagles fan when they were awful. So I'm partial to Eagles because I have a wonderful memory. When we were living in New Jersey, my grandfather had season tickets, and don't get too excited. Like these were season tickets in like the cheap seats. And this was like, this tells you how old I am. He had a pair of them. So my dad and my grandfather would go together, and then my dad would sneak me in under his coat. And then they'd bring a cooler, which is definitely not allowed anymore. And I'd sit on the cooler in between the seats. They'd bring me a thermos of hot chocolate. I'd sit there, drink my thermos of hot chocolate, and yell for Jaws, and then pass my dad and my grandfather beers from the cooler. And like that's one of the memories I still have of going to that.
That's awesome.
Yes,
That's
lovely.
So, yes, definitely ages me because none of those things would ever get by
you
today.
can't do that anymore. That's for sure. That's for sure. No. And so, because of Jersey, you're also a diehard Bon Jovi fan.
So I do enjoy Bon Jovi.
Not the new stuff, though, right?
Not the new stuff,
thank
although
goodness.
I did work on that album. So I used to work for a record label back in the day, and I got to work with John Bon Jovi, and I did his EPKs for some of his new stuff.
And how short is he?
It's, I don't remember. His personality is so large that it's hard to gauge how tall he is, but he's definitely not a tall man.
He's like shorter than Tom Cruise, I think.
And Tom Cruise is 5'6".
Yeah, I don't think he's 5'6". I think he's a little bit taller.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, because
okay.
I'm 5'4", and I would say he was probably more like 5'8"ish, 5'7".
Yeah, but was it? But you didn't look at the heels on his boots, though. So
Fred, can we pose the last question?
Yes, I go ahead.
I feel like you need sound effects because it's been so anticipated. The last question.
We do.
We do. We might have some sound effects.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Davina, who would win in a fight between a giant polar bear and a great white shark? They're in a body of water about 6 feet deep of infinite dimensions. There's no shallow end. There's no sandbar. There's no shoreline. Just infinite water. Who wins that fight? Giant polar bear or great white shark?
How giant of a polar bear? Like
12 feet tall.
12 feet tall.
He can easily stand up in the water.
Okay. I still think I'm going to go with great white shark because that's more of his natural habitat that he's used to. Because the polar bear can go back and forth between them, but eventually he's going to get tired of swimming and need to go to land. Whereas the great white shark, he doesn't need to ever go to land if he's in the pool of water.
The natural habitat argument is pretty consistent with the Team Shark people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. All right. She is Davina Stampfel, and she is here with the McKinney Repertory Theater, commonly more known as MRT. Thank you so much for your time, Davina. This has been great.
Oh, thank you. I've had so much fun chatting with you and going off topic.
Some episodes lend themselves to more off-topic chatter than others.
But not unexpected for the theater person.
No, we could go all day.
Yeah. All right. Well, folks, check out the show notes for links to upcoming performances at MRT and how you can get more involved. This has been another episode of the McKinney Podcast. Make it a great day, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all take care.